I'm Amanda from Life Unravelled, where we unravel life's little mysteries. Today we're looking at social skills and all the different things that we need to be able to teach our children so that they can navigate that social scene. It's really tricky for these little ones to understand what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So we really need to guide them and help them cope with those frustrations that are happening. Let's look at emotions and how they deal with their emotions. Now, 4-year-olds are notorious for being frustrated and temper tantrums and trying to manipulate everything around them. So what we want to do is we want to keep a very consistent approach with them so that they understand where the bar sits, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and what are the consequences that are going to happen from that. The best thing you can do is keep a very even voice and give them time to work through their emotions. So let's look at how can we help our children solve social problems. Now, one of the things that I found was really great when my kids were growing up, and I've seen it happen again and again with families, is that a situation happens and everyone reacts to the situation, and then after that you actually sit down with the child and say, what could we do better? Sometimes making a puppet show of it is a great way for them to work through that social problem. Sometimes it's setting up your toys in that situation and you playing beside them and you showing them what are some of the different ways that you could cope in that situation. What should you do and what can you do in that situation? So for instance, say we've got 2 kids are playing with a toy that they love and one doesn't want to share. Now, sharing is really hard for a 2-year-old. Sometimes it's okay for a 3-year-old, but it is really difficult for a 4-year-old. So the 4-year-old's sitting there, they're both sitting there and playing, and they both want the same toy, and one grabs it off the other one, and the other one starts punching the other one, and they're having a whole big, huge fight. At that time is not the time to be talking to them. They need to calm down, they need to be settled, and then you can discuss what's happened. So make sure that they separate, give them time to calm down, and then when they're calmed down you can say, right, are you ready to talk about it? And they'll say no or maybe. But even if they say no, you say, well, we need to talk about this. I don't like the way you were behaving. You need to share. Sharing is when you let other people have a go and then you'll have a go again. And explain it to them so that you know definitely that they understand what the meaning of the word is. Even if you have said it 10 times before, it's still important that at that specific moment in time you explain to them. Now, when they're in the height of the fight or the height of the argument, children will only hear the first 3 words that you actually say. Now, that may seem absolutely extreme, but it's not. They really don't listen to the ramble. They only listen to the first 3 words. So if you say, now dear, could you, you've lost them. So you need to say things like, stop, think. Is that what you want to do? Is that the right thing to do? So you've got their attention by saying stop and think. That's what they're doing. So they're the action words that you're using. Once you've got those action words done, then you can explain, give them a question. So they have to think about what they're doing. Is that how we behave? Now, if they're really not getting it, set up a little situation where your toys are fighting over each other, or two Lego men are fighting over a Lego car. And you could say to them, oh, well, what should this Lego man say? And what should this, you be this man and I'll be this man. And you can sort of work out that situation together. And if you work it out together, what you'll find is that you can brainstorm different ways to react to it, and they will more than likely start to do those play acting and start to work out that what is the best appropriate action in that situation. Now you might seem, oh, that's so much, why can't they just do what they're told? And look, I agree. Sometimes I wish that they would just do what they're told and it would make life a lot easier. But kids really learn through play. So by playing out those activities, you'll find that they will learn much quicker than if you talk to them a lot. I hope that gives you some insight into how to help your children solve those social problems. And you'll find so many different social problems in this year. This year is probably filled with them, and that's where the tantrums come in, that the children are trying to work out how they feel and how to express those feelings. So by giving them insight into different ways, actions that they can use, they then feel less frustrated and the tantrums will disappear. So not only do they need to understand how to act in that situation, but they need to be able to name their emotion. Now, it's really interesting when you watch kids and you put on a face like this and you'll say to them, how do you think mummy feels? And sometimes they'll have no idea. So they now have a very good grasp of the English language by the time they're 4, or in the language that they speak. So they have a good grasp of that information. Now is the time to give them the language that goes with the emotion. So if they're screaming and ranting and raving, you can say, you feel angry at the moment, or you feel frustrated at the moment. So you're putting a word to their action. And that action is because of a feeling. Or if they're crying, you could say, do you feel sad at the moment? Or you could maybe even show your face and, be really bright and happy. Oh, mummy's so happy at the moment. Is Jacob happy? And so you sort of put it onto them, and then they can work out what the words are that they need to use for those emotions. And don't use just words like happy, sad, angry. Maybe you can start using words that are a little bit more developed, like frustrated or furious, maybe even delighted. And by using this language, that gives them a little bit more breadth in their understanding of emotions, and it gives them more words that they can then describe to you how they're feeling. Now, what comes with understanding emotions is also understanding emotions of others. So they need to be able to look around and see how people are feeling, read people's body language. Now that's really hard to do, to read the body language, but it's really an essential skill. Not only should they be able to read people's body language, but start to teach them the body language of dogs and cats, because invariably they will be presented with dogs and cats. They'll go over to someone's house and they'll have a dog, or they'll go over to someone's house and they'll have a cat. They may even have guinea pigs. And so you need to teach children what's appropriate and how to read the body language of those animals. YouTube is great for that. There are so many YouTube clips of cats that are angry, or dogs that are angry, or dogs that are happy. If you can get those clips and watch them and tell the kids how the cat is feeling. For instance, I was teaching some little 4-year-olds recently, and there was a picture of a cat and it was like this. And I said to them, what sort of sound do you think that cat's making? And one of the kids said, meow. I said, how do you think that cat's feeling? And you know, there was only one child out of 6 that I had in a group that could tell me that that cat was feeling angry, and the sound that it would make is hiss or pss, pss. So it's important that we can actually teach our kids the body language of those animals, and that will help them when they're interacting at other people's houses. Well, that's the end of part 2. We still have more to go through. There's so many things to look at in the social side, so you'll have quite a few videos to look at, but there's lots of information, so I'll see you in the next section. Bye!
This video was produced by Imagination Pty Ltd for Life Unravelled. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, please see website www.lifeunravelled.com.au.